Welcome to This Analysis. Today, we're looking at something completely unexpected, highly entertaining, and honestly, surprisingly emotional. We're breaking down a 1-minute AI-generated script about, wait for it, anthropomorphic vegetables. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a beautifully simple microstory titled The True Love of Potato and Cabbage. I know, it sounds totally absurd, but the way this AI constructs a full narrative arc in just 60 seconds is actually pretty fascinating. We're going to unpack the characters, the conflict, and the surprisingly deep meaning hidden within this starchy romance.
So, let's kick things off with a question that has plagued philosophers, poets, and emperors for literally millennia. Can wealth buy true happiness? It's the ultimate human dilemma, right? But today, well, it's not a human dilemma. It's a botanical one. We're applying this heavy, Shakespearean gravitas to a root vegetable. Because at the very core of our protagonist's journey, this is the exact question he's forced to answer.
Section 1. The World of Potato and Cabbage. Let's set the scene. Right from the start, we're introduced to our humble protagonists. We've got a poor potato and his loving wife, the cabbage. They live in a tiny house, and the script makes it super clear that money is incredibly tight. But they have each other and they are deeply in love. It's a classic setup about pure, uncorrupted contentment. And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict the AI establishes right out of the gate. On one hand, we've got Scene 1. Poverty, sure, but an absolute abundance of love and peace. This is the simple life of the potato and the cabbage. But then, Scene 2 introduces the disruption. Enter the eggplant. The eggplant is wealthy, he's flashy, and he represents literally everything the potato lacks financially. The script uses these vegetables as perfect avatars to contrast the quiet peace of love against the loud, demanding nature of greed.
Which brings us to Section 2, the rich eggplant's temptation.
Our carb-based protagonist is happy, right? But every great story needs an inciting incident. And that brings us to the moment the wealthy eggplant decides to pay our poor potato a visit. Now, the eggplant doesn't beat around the bush. He knows exactly what buttons to push. Notice the sheer, blunt force of the AI's dialogue here. The eggplant just flat out says, "Come with me, I have lots of wealth. I will make you rich too." No nuance, no complex contract, just the raw, alluring temptation of instant wealth. And tragically, the potato folds immediately. Blinded by this greed for riches, he abandons his beloved cabbage and walks right out the door with the eggplant. Just like that, their peaceful home is shattered. That takes us into Section 3, the bitter reality of wealth. Now we hit the climax and the really harsh realities of Scene 3. The potato thought he was walking into a life of pure luxury. He thought the eggplant was his generous benefactor. But boy, is he about to learn a very painful lesson about the true cost of unchecked ambition. Just look at the stark contrast between expectation and reality here. The potato expected a completely changed life, immense riches, and a better future. But what did he actually get? Well, the eggplant immediately put him to work. We're talking relentless, morning-to-night labor. The script tells us there was zero peace, there was no love, and there was absolutely no respect. The promises of wealth, they were nothing but a trap. The eggplant wasn't a friend at all. He was an exploitative boss, and the potato traded his beautiful, peaceful life for just endless, crushing exhaustion.
It's actually amazing when you think about how efficiently this AI script packs a massive character arc into such a tiny time frame. I mean, we start with pure contentment on day 1, then, boom, the immediate spike of greed. That's followed weeks later by the crushing exhaustion of relentless labor. Naturally, months of that exhaustion breeds deep regret. And finally, by present day, it pushes our protagonist towards seeking redemption. Taking a character through this entire spectrum of human or, vegetable emotion in just 60 seconds of script is incredibly effective storytelling.
Moving on to Section 4, the victory of true love. So, exhausted, broken, and completely disillusioned by those false promises from the wealthy eggplant, Scene 4 brings our story to its emotional turning point. The potato finally realizes his massive mistake. He makes the long, shameful walk back to the tiny house he abandoned. He stands before the cabbage, utterly remorseful, and delivers this profound apology. He says, "Forgive me, in the greed for wealth, I lost my true happiness." Wow, it is the absolute emotional peak of the narrative. He's finally realized that the wealth the eggplant offered was entirely hollow compared to the rich, fulfilling love he already had at home. And how does the cabbage react to all this? Does she hold a grudge? Does she yell at him for abandoning her? Not at all. Scene 5 is literally a masterclass in unconditional forgiveness. She simply smiles warmly. She accepts his heartfelt apology because he admitted his mistake from the very bottom of his heart. She declares, "Our home is always yours." They embrace, and the script assures us they go right back to living happily ever after. In this fable, true love easily conquers past mistakes. And finally, Section 5, the story's important lesson. As we wrap up this script, we really have to look at the final piece of the puzzle here. Scene by scene, we've watched a tragedy turn into a romance. But the AI scriptwriter doesn't just leave us with a warm, fuzzy feeling. It explicitly spells out the takeaway, serving a dual purpose that perfectly encapsulates modern digital media. The script ends with this brilliant two-step maneuver. Step 1 is your timeless narrative moral. True love and peace are far more valuable than wealth. It's a beautiful, classic lesson. But then, Step 2 instantly pivots to a meta call to action. It immediately says, if you want to see more fun and educational AI stories like this, like, follow, and share this channel with your friends. It's honestly amazing. This age-old, deeply emotional moral about love over money is brilliantly and shamelessly packaged as a vehicle to drive modern social media engagement. It definitely leaves us with a lot to think about regarding how we consume stories today. But even beneath the algorithm-driven call to action, the core question of the fable remains genuinely powerful. So I'm going to leave you with this. When the flashy eggplants of the modern world come offering you endless wealth at the cost of your peace, would you have made the same choice as the potato? And more importantly, what is your cabbage? Take a moment to appreciate it today. Thanks so much for joining me for this analysis.